Well, that was weird. Hello, everybody, and welcome. This, this is the Apostate Prophet. How's everybody doing? Hope everybody is having a fantastic little time. David, what's up?
Hey, what's up, man? Comrade.
Comrade?
Got to start calling ourselves that because we're becoming communists over here.
All right, let's do it. Let's do it. Wait, why are you on the left side and I'm on the right side? Okay, all right, switch. All right, so I guess I need to take a sip. I don't know what's happening. Hi, David, what's up? How you doing, man?
Hey, what's up, man? Sending out this link. We're live discussing. I keep saying the mayor. He's not the mayor yet, though.
No, that's the thing. I wanted to talk about that as well tonight before talking about all the other stuff. There are lots of people right now thinking that this guy, Mamdani, is elected to be the mayor of New York City. That's not the case yet.
Not yet. Not quite. He's the Democratic nominee, which would make him sort of landslide favorite to be the next mayor because they're not going to vote for a Republican. With that said,
why did you mute yourself, man?
What? Am I muted? I'm not muted.
We just couldn't hear the last thing that you said.
Check. I'm not muted. That's your stupid computer. Why don't you fix it?
They're not going to vote for a Republican candidate, you said. The thing is...
hang on. No. Anything could happen. They could, but they won't. They could vote for an independent. So here's basically the thing, right? They already understand what a disaster this will be for them, right? Like the Democratic Party, like New Yorkers were dumb. It was a bunch of rich white people who decided to. No, it was the children of a bunch of rich white people who decided to make this guy the nominee. You can actually look at the statistics. Black voters, Hispanic voters, they went for Cuomo. It's the spoiled rich white kids who said, no, let's go with the socialist. Not only is he a socialist, he's a Muslim socialist. That makes us extra progressive, right? So they signed on for this guy. And so he's the Democratic nominee. He beat Cuomo for the Democratic nominee. So that makes him, like, again, landslide victory looks like for him. However, you've also got the party. They understand this will be an absolute disaster for them. They understand that they've been associated with every sort of insane policy. And I'll say, what happened years ago? Bernie Sanders was the one who was supposed to be the nominee. They torpedoed him. They found a way to get Bernie out of the way, even though he had like the most momentum and stuff. They understand they don't want a socialist to be the face of their party. They can kind of deal with an annoying AOC here or there. But being the mayor of New York City and driving that into the ground, bad luck. So everyone else is saying if you're the Democratic nominee at this time, there are people saying like 100% chance because it's just that clear. I think there's a good chance they'll do something to torpedo him, namely swinging their support towards an independent candidate, because Eric Adams, who's the current mayor, had all sorts of scandals and so on, and so he's decided to run as an independent. And Andrew Cuomo, who lost the Democratic primary, is also, people told me the other day, they're like, no, he dropped out. As far as I tell, he did not drop out. So one of those guys is going to be compelled to drop out. And so what you're going to find is, and if you're thinking, oh, but Andrew Cuomo, he didn't win the Democratic primary, so why would he win the actual election? Well, because more people are voting, right? And you have a bunch of other people who would be basically voting against this socialist Muslim guy. So they're going to need one of those guys to drop out, because you don't want to be running two guys, which will split the anti-socialist vote. So one of those guys is going to be caused to drop out, and other people rally around him. And I suspect some higher ups in the Democratic Party are going to want to torpedo that guy, because you do not want to be the party that destroyed New York City with your absolutely insane. If you listen to this dude, he is like, he's beyond AOC. He's beyond AOC nut job. And so, anyway, but it's going to be fun to watch. I'll tell you that much.
I wonder at this point. Let's see. Let's look at some statistics here. Let us look at some statistics. Let's look at some statistics. So he is the current candidate of the Democrats, which very much gives him a huge advantage and makes people assume that he's going to become the mayor of New York City. Let's look at the voters here. So, see which neighborhoods and groups drove Mamdani's success in the NYC primary. And what we can see here, this doesn't say very much to me. It probably does to you because you used to live in New York.
Yeah. Wait, what are the colors? Orange is what?
Orange is Mamdani,
Okay.
and the other one is Cuomo.
Okay, now look, that big block of orange right there in the middle. Big block of orange right there in the middle. And then over there on the side. And then I'm looking. So for everyone, like Bronx is up north, Brooklyn's down at the bottom. Staten Island's over there on the side. Then you have Manhattan, looks like a giant phallus of the men of Al Zut. And then in the middle there, you got Queens. But yeah, looks like Manhattan went hardcore, Mamdani, and then a good chunk of Queens, namely the chunk of Queens that is close to Manhattan. And matter of fact, this is actually perfect. Yeah, so you've got most of Manhattan. You look up at the Bronx, they went Cuomo, and then the sections of Brooklyn and Queens that are close to Manhattan went Mamdani. So basically, the closer you go to Manhattan, the rich area, the closer you get to Mamdani. And the farther you get away from that, the more you get to the working class, and they went Cuomo.
That's very funny. Mr. Mamdani, a 33-year-old Democratic socialist, also ran up large vote tallies in the affluent brownstone-lined blocks of Brooklyn. I don't want to read those.
See what I just said?
Yeah,
the part that's close to Manhattan.
South Asian populations. His main rival, former Governor Andrew Cuomo, had hoped to reassemble Mayor Eric Adams' winning 2021 coalition of Black, Hispanic, and Orthodox Jewish voters, but instead lost ground in some of those communities. This is where it outlines where Eric Adams won. And then, let's see, Mr. Mamdani, who campaigned on addressing New York's affordability crisis, performed stronger than his rivals in areas where a majority of residents are college graduates, as well as in middle income and higher income.
The same people have been trained to run around going, free Palestine, free Palestine. Those people grow up and become voters, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
And their parents are rich, which is how they were at Columbia and all these other places.
He won most areas with a majority of Asian residents and was modestly outpacing Mr. Cuomo in majority Hispanic areas.
Oh, yeah. Notice the Asians. It was whites and Asians, as far as I recall, when this was coming out.
Mr. Cuomo had more support in areas with a majority of Black residents and in areas where a majority of residents are low income.
By the way, isn't this interesting? You've got a guy who comes out, hey, I'm going to make I'm going to make public transportation free. I'm going to make childcare free and universal. I'm going to give you everything for free. We're going to open all these state-owned grocery stores to give you cheaper stuff. And all the working class are going, you think we're stupid? We're not voting for you, giant moron. We're not falling for this. And all the wealthy, college-educated, college-brainwashed whites and Asians are going, yay, our hero, yay, he's going to make a difference. Look how progressive we'll be if we vote for this guy. And again, the working class is like, are you stupid? Are you freaking stupid?
Are you dumb? Are you dumb, stupid, or dumb? That's what they said. There were some exceptions, most notably Mr. Cuomo's strong performance on the Upper West and East Sides in Manhattan, where Mamdani struggled to win over an older, wealthier electorate, which includes a sizable segment of Jewish voters.
Yeah, see that? It's the older. It's interesting how these things line up. The older people, they're not falling for it. It's the young, wealthy people from wealthy families and college educated people. In other words, people who just got out of the free Palestine campuses. They're all going from Mamdani.
Isn't Israel a big thing in New York, like annually or something, like to
There's an Israel
stand?
Day parade. There's an Israel Day parade.
This is very funny, man.
What? There's also a so dude. People don't realize you've got about 1 million Jews who live in the 5 boroughs. So if you add up all the Jews that live in the 5 boroughs, I think like half of them are in Brooklyn. I think like half of them are in Brooklyn. But you've got 1 million Jews basically in the 5 boroughs. That is a huge, huge Jewish population. In fact, I think it's either the biggest Jewish population outside of Tel Aviv, or if you just take like the city itself and not include like the suburbs around it, I think New York may have the highest Jewish population and even higher Jewish population than Tel Aviv.
Nice, 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 nice. Now here, Mamdani, higher income residents, he wins them. Middle income residents, lower income residents, he loses. Cuomo wins. Um, more
Did you
white
catch that? Lower
residents vote for
income.
him.
Those are the people
Yeah,
he's supposedly helping. I'm here to help you, lower income people, and they're going, yeah, we don't trust you. We think you're full of it.
most black people clearly vote for Cuomo and not for that guy. Asians and white people vote for him. Huh. That's very, very interesting. Now, all of this aside, what do you think is the big problem with having such a guy elected as the mayor of New York City? I mean, it's not like it's a country. It's just a city, man. What's your problem, David? What's your problem with this guy? What's wrong with you?
Well, I mean, New York City's a pretty important place to destroy. But here, let me give people the big picture of what happens, because the big picture here, they're basically there are 2 political systems that don't seem to do a good job making places where people actually want to live, and that's socialism and Islam. They do a crap job of making places where people want to live, and they tend to ruin places, and then people want to get out of those places, and then they move to other places that don't have those political systems. But then what's crazy is the people who leave socialist countries or leave Muslim countries, they come to Western countries, and then they start cheering for the exact same policies of the places they fled. And when you say, hey, if you like Sharia, why didn't you stick with your place which had Sharia? And it's like, oh, but they don't do Sharia right. Here, we'll do it right. Okay, can you point to a place that actually where this has actually worked? No. Why do you think it's going to work here? Because we're going to do it right. And at what point do you say, okay, this is a crap system that just doesn't work? Anyway, long story short, Islam does a pretty terrible job of making places where anyone wants to live. Socialism does a pretty terrible job of making places where anyone wants to live. So the genius idea in New York is now, hey, let's combine the 2 systems that never work anywhere into one big ball. And then that each one of these weird political systems that never works anywhere will be the missing piece of the other one, and the reason it never worked. And somehow they'll come together like Voltron and do a much better job. But here's the thing. If you listen to what he's saying, and this is exactly what he says, he's going to make public transportation free. He's going to make childcare free. He's going to make all these cheap grocery stores and everything. And he knows it's not actually free, right? Like you hear that. Oh yeah, why can't everything just be free? Like, guys, you understand there's stuff isn't really free. All you mean is someone else is paying for it. So his real message is, hey, instead of you paying for your bus, we'll make someone else pay for your bus. Instead of you paying for your child's care, we'll make someone else pay for it. And this all goes back down to these people not understanding how reality works. When you say, hey, instead of millions, so there are millions of people in New York, and over half of them use public transportation to get to work. If you say, hey, all of you millions of people who take the bus or the subway every day, we're going to make rich people pay for that instead of you, those rich people aren't going to stay around for that, right? Rich people are going to pack up their stuff and go somewhere else. They're you're going to take away any incentive they had for remaining in New York if you just say, hey, we're going to use your money to pay for people's bus rides now and for their childcare. So here's what happens. Here's what happens. It just happened in France recently. But basically, you've got the upper class, the middle class, the lower class. You say the upper class, you know what? We're going to tax you. We're going to raise taxes on you guys. We're going to make you pay more so you can pay more for the middle class and the lower class. Then what happens? You're not trapped in this city. There's nothing holding you in this city. It's one thing if you did it in the entire country and you'd have to uproot and move to another country. That would be quite a bit of work. But leaving New York and going somewhere else is pretty darn easy to do. People just go to Florida. And New York is famous for people getting sick of New York and then moving to Florida. It's famous for it. So anyway, what happens is when you say, hey, upper class, we're going to take all your stuff and give it to people down, in the middle class or lower class. Those people say, you know what, screw this, we're leaving. So they leave and go to Florida. Then you've got the middle class. Guess what? Now they're the richest ones. They're not making any more money than they were before, but now they're the new upper class. So now what the government has to tax them more. So now the middle class, they get taxed more. And so then the middle class, they have to leave. And now all you've got is the lower class. And how much money can you squeeze out of them to run all your free programs and so on? And then you've basically destroyed a city. Because here's the thing. Even though it may be, even though you have to push people really hard to get them to just pack up and move and leave the city that they love, they will do it. They will do it. It's quite a bit of work. You have to be doing a pretty crap job as leaders in New York to get all these millionaires and so on and billionaires to leave New York City. Once you do, almost impossible to get them back. In other words, 5 years from now, once you realize, wow, we have run our city into the ground, we lost all the millionaires. Now there's no one for us to tax to pay for everything. We've just screwed everything up. So let's go ahead and get a better leader in. It's kind of too late. Those people aren't coming back. They're not going, oh yeah, you fix it. You got a mayor. Let me just pack up from Florida and move back to New York. You're going to lose these people. And this is how you destroy an entire city.
Hey, this is a cool picture. I know it's supposed to be a joke, but it looks kind of cool. So, a new project in New York City.
Did you just make that, man?
No, somebody else posted it. I just saw it as I was
pretty
looking
funny.
It is funny. It is pretty funny. What's very interesting to me is that Zohran Memdani, as he's going around trying to gather votes, makes appearances in multiple different mosques. At first, I thought it was only one appearance in one mosque, but then it turns out that he was in multiple different places and said some interesting things. For example, this one here. So he appears at a mosque.
Hey! 1 second.
What?
Also, if you listen at his speeches in different places, when he's in front of the leftist crowd, it's all an LGBT. We need to pay for their surgeries and blah 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 blah. I bet he doesn't say that in this mosque.
He probably doesn't. Let's see.
My name is Zohran Kwame Mamdani. It's great to be here with the brothers and the sisters of this masjid. And I'm the first Muslim elected official to ever run for mayor in the history of our city.
Akbar.
And before I begin, I want to ask everyone here a question.
Isn't that interesting? Takbir, Allahu Akbar.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny.
Which is, if you can raise your hand if you were born outside of this country. Many. Most. As was said by the brother here, I was born in Kampala, Uganda. I came to this city at the age of 7. And I know that the brothers and the sisters of this masjid are like New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs. Came to this city with a dream of what life would be like. A dream that sustained you on what was often a difficult journey.
There's something very, very interesting about this. So he asks people how many of them were born outside the country. And he then remarks that it's actually most. So, of course, these are the people that he immediately goes to thank. These are people that he appeals to when he goes to collect votes, to appeal for votes. So basically, you have a bunch of people who came from outside the country, who came to New York City, and then do their best to somehow elect and support and vote for somebody who also comes like them from outside to change New York City into whatever they want it to be. I just think of one thing when I hear this kind of stuff. Why the hell are you here?
And the other thing is, note you're seeing the exact same pattern we're seeing in the UK, although
Yep.
it's further along there, where you keep bringing people into your cities, and then guess what? Then you have one big block of voters, and then all you need is some guy to walk in there who'd say, "Hey, I'm like you, vote for me," and they do every single time, and you take over the leadership of a city. And now, so we've been watching them do that in New York. I mean, in the UK, and now we're seeing it in New York. Smart.
Powerful.
Hey, couple other things.
That dream.
What?
This dude, I'm not sure how much you've been following this dude. I've been looking him up over the past couple days.
I'm not a creep.
But he also says he loves the Holy Land Five. Those were guys who were had this massive terrorist funding system. Dude, and see, here's the thing. You wonder, is he here's the question. Is he basically Islamist who's using progressive nonsense to get into power? Or is he progressive using his Muslim background to win the Muslim vote? Because really, those ideologies do not go together well, except in terms of they agree on destroying certain things. But apart from that, those ideologies do not work together. He keeps them kind of compartmentalized. He'll say one message when he's talking to leftists and a different message when he's talking to Muslims, except where those ideologies line up and they're attacking the same thing. But so in favor of him being on the Islamist side. So he did in his rap career say that he loves the Holy Land Five. These were guys who had a scam for funding Hamas. It was Hamas funding scam. And what they would do is they were posting support the victims of 9/11. And then people were giving to charity. And they were sending that money to the Hamas. And they could even defend it, say, aha, well, Hamas, they're the real victims of all this stuff because we're always the real victims of stuff. Anyway, but think about that, right? This guy is a fan. He's a fan of guys who pretended to be raising money for New York City, pretended to be funding New York City, but actually we're promoting terrorism, right? And he says he's a fan of what? Those guys who pretend to care about New Yorkers, but actually are funding the terrorists. So there's that. And the other thing, AP, is this guy is a 12er Shia. He's a 12er Shia, AP. AP, can you think of any other 12er Shias?
Yeah, the Khamenei.
Okay, so the leaders of Iran, those are the 12er Shias.
Yeah.
Those are the 12er Shias. Okay. So 12er Shias are the main 12er Shias to serve as a role model would be the Ayatollah. But what did the Ayatollah do? AP, was it just me or did the Ayatollah and the leftists all agree, hey, we need to unite until we take down the Shah? Well, they were against two things. One, they were against the reigning king, that's the Shah in Iran, and they were against Western nations for different reasons. The leftists viewed them as imperialists, and the Muslims just viewed them as like the big Satan and the little Satan and things like that. But they agreed, we hate those guys. So they all aligned on the same things. Then what happened? Then the leftists and the Muslims, the 12er Shias, united in a common cause of getting rid of the Shah and taking over the government. And what happened then? The 12er Shias wiped out the leftists. So anyway, he's a 12er Shia. That would be his supreme role model. What's the supreme role model? You align yourselves with the leftists until you get rid of the current leaders, and then you wipe out the leftists. Anyway, I'm just saying. With all that said, I have no idea what this guy believes. I'm just pointing out that's basically the case for thinking that this guy is Islamist.
This is a very, very funny thing. So this is an article from 1965, and it references the Shah of Iran. And the Shah of Iran was, while he was ruling, he was warning and speaking and trying to crack down on a certain unity in his own country. And some people were downplaying that. Look, progress-minded Iranians, foremost among them the Shah, have long tried to modernize and westernize Iran. These efforts are resisted by both the communists and fanatical Muslims.
Oh, wait, this says 1965.
Yeah.
Oh, so yeah,
The
this is
Shah
when it was getting
himself
started.
last week described this as an unholy alliance between two extremist wings, black reactionaries and unpatriotic destructive Reds. What he's referring to here is the Muslims with the black flags and the black dresses, the Shia, and the socialist and communist Reds. So the communists and the fanatical Muslims who are fighting. And at this point, much of this was just speculation. Look, it says here, while there is little evidence of a formal alliance between the two forces, they certainly play into each other's hands. What happened 10 years later is that the communists and the Islamists did indeed together overthrow the Shah and turn it into an Islamic regime. The communists helped overthrow the Shah. The communists wanted to then take lead, but of course, they were just being completely stupid, useful idiots.
Mm-hmm.
The Islamists, with their power, immediately took advantage of the situation and started shutting down and locking up and killing the communists, and then taking sole power for themselves and installing an Islamic regime, an Islamic republic. This is exactly what happened in Iran. The socialists help the Muslims achieve their goal, and then the Muslims turn on the socialists, kill them, lock them up, and take over and impose their Islam on everybody. This is the unholy alliance between the two extremist wings, black reactionaries and unpatriotic destructive Reds. There is another thing, another terminology, which is actually very funny, that people may not be familiar with, which is a red, green, brown alliance. This is what we have nowadays on social media. The term red, green, brown alliance, originating in France in the 2000s, refers to a supposed alliance of leftists, red, Islamists, green, and the far right, brown. By this, they are referring to Nazis and hardcore fascists, which brown is usually identified with.
That's funny, actually, because they're
Oh,
crap.
yeah. It's a reference to the brown shirts of the Nazis. So
No, it's not.
red, green, and brown coming together. We have that nowadays a lot. In fact, when this guy won the candidacy, but this is actually very funny. Let me pull this up. I think Nick Fuentes just said this. Just said it today. Nick Fuentes Mamdani. Let me look for it. Nick Fuentes just downplayed and defended the election or the victory of this dude. Let's see, where is it? Where can I find it? Where can I find it? Where can I find it? And I'm not looking for it right now. I didn't prepare it. But Nick Fuentes basically defended it and said that people are only angry at this guy because he was part of an anti-Israel rally or something like that. That's what he said. So he started defending this guy as well, defending the socialist Islamist mayoral candidate of New York City.
Wait, so hang on. So white nationalist who's actually a Mexican, if you ask him if he's a white nationalist, Nick Fuentes, he's all on board with this guy from where's he from? Uganda or something like that?
Mm-hmm. Oh, here. Look at this. A progressive Democrat won a primary race in New York City. Who cares? Who cares? The only reason that conservatives are crashing out on Zohran Mamdani is because of that clip from the debate when he said he wasn't going to visit Israel, and everybody knows it.
I've been looking at the clips. One, they seem to be loving this. They seem to be loving it, right? They seem to be pointing and going, "Oh, this is going to be hilarious." When they're complaining, again, they seem to be loving this, pointing out how insane a certain group in New York have gone, right? They do point out that he has, been shouting free Palestine and stuff, but mainly people are pointing out, wait a minute, this guy says he's gonna make everything free. He's gonna tax the crap out of the rich. He's basically AOC on steroids now,
AP.
and it's going to be a horrible disaster. And they're loving it. They're loving it because they're looking at it like, guys, okay, you just got crushed in an election, right? And at every level, presidential, Senate, president, House, everything, you got crushed in every possible way the last election. What's that mean? It means you can't be doing things. You need to change something before the next election. You have to change something. So what are you going to do? You can either become more kind of centrist, or you can go even more hardcore progressive and further left and so on. And you have forces for both. You have people arguing for both. Hey, we need to quit being so insane. That's why we lost. And you have other people arguing, no, we didn't go far enough. That's why we lost. And so this is sort of this dude is the product of the people who say, we need to go further. We need to go further. And so everyone who thinks that Democrats lost the last election because they're becoming associated with insane ideas about gender politics and things like that. The people who think that that's why the Democrats lost, they're loving this guy because they're like, oh, you're going to torpedo an entire city. And we get to point and say, you see what their policies do. This is why you need to vote for us.
Yeah, let's see.
When you have to spend each and every day worrying if you have enough money to pay your rent, to pay your mortgage bill, to pay your Con Edison or your water bill, your childcare or your groceries, or even your Metro card. And I think about the words of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who instructed us to make things easier. Do not make them more difficult. Spread glad tidings. And I announced this race on October 23rd, where we began the campaign to become the next mayor of this city.
Pretty generic, wasn't it?
Living up to those words. A campaign to make this city affordable once again, to make it such that every New Yorker could afford their rent, could afford to ride the bus, could afford to raise a family. And we had an event where we had about 200 people in Long Island City. And a brother of mine, Assad, he was there, he took a photo, he shared it on social media. He said, Alhamdulillah, the first Muslim elected official to run for mayor.
Alhamdulillah.
And a member of the New York Post responded. He said, is it true they did not allow pagers into the event? And what he was referring to was Israel's blowing up of thousands of pagers across Lebanon, killing scores of Lebanese.
Start crying, dude. Start crying, dude. Start crying. This is the cue.
Fatima, who picked up her father's pager in an act of love and lost her life. And we know that to be Muslim in public life in this city and in this country is to face these kinds of responses, to be called a terrorist no matter where it is, where you go.
Hey, pause. Hang on.
I know that what our community wants.
Just think about the irony here. It's the same thing we see from Ilhan Omar, right? This is a guy who moved. He's only been a citizen for 7 years. I don't know when he moved here before that, but he's been a citizen for 7 years. And he's about to become the mayor of New York City. And half the time he's talking about what a victim he is.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
My family moved here. My dad's like a college professor. My mom's a movie producer. I've had a silver spoon in my mouth my entire life. And I'm about to become mayor of New York. Vote for me. I'm such a victim. Please sympathize with me.
Poor me.
Yeah. Isn't it amazing? I mean, it's amazing. It's same thing with Ilhan Omar. I mean, she was like in a refugee camp or something like that. She comes to the United States. She becomes a congresswoman, a millionaire, and all she complains about is what a victim she is, and how horribly immigrants and Muslims are treated here in the United States.
Who are victims? People in Muslim countries, non-Muslims in Muslim countries. Those people are victims. However, so David just talked about something else. I am not patient enough to wait to reveal this, but so David just talked about how this guy Zohran Mamdani, who now talks about being a victim, and who talks about how Muslims are depicted as terrorists, had some really, really messed up past remarks. Now I want to bring up one thing. Simply do what these people always tell you to do and Google Holy Land 5 and Mamdani. You will have the AI here help you out and say the information about Holy Land 5 Mamdani centers around Zohran Mamdani, a politician and former rapper who included a lyric expressing love for the Holy Land 5 in one of his songs. This lyric was found in his 2017 song, Salam, refers to the leaders of the Holy Land Foundation for Relief and Development.
I heard that song. Pretty much the worst song I've ever heard in my entire life.
Really?
The songs that you put out are like, I talked about this with Robert. I'm not saying this because I agree with the dude or don't agree with the dude. Pink Floyd, they got a guy who's pretty big anti-Semite and stuff. Guess what? I still think they've got several of the greatest songs of all time. So I'm not saying based on me agreeing or disagreeing with the dude.
Very important. I'll let you continue.
Dude,
very important. We have to make this connection here. Very important. Hold on. Then you can continue with your story. So, Holy Land 5, Mamdani. This is what he's referring to. The Holy Land 5, the Holy Land Foundation for Relief and Development, refers to this group. Now, here is what you will find if you search for this group. Key people. You will find Musa Abu Marzouk. Musa Abu Marzouk. Who is this guy? Musa Abu Marzouk is a Palestinian politician and senior member of Hamas who served as the first chairman of Hamas Political Bureau from 1992 until 1996. This guy is, however, even more important for different reasons. Think about this for a second. Think about this once again. Zohran Mamdani, the current candidate for mayor of New York City, was praising this guy. I have showed a video of this guy several times in the past. And I can bring it up right here again. Here you go. This is the guy. After October 7, this interview came out.
البعض يتساءل وهذا سؤال رائج وشائع يعني من قام بتشييد 500 كيلومتر من الأنفاق لماذا لم يشيد مآوي يلجأ إليها المدنيون خلال القصف؟
نحن شيدنا الأنفاق لأنه لا نملك.
There you have his name, Musa Abu Marzouk, Hamas Political Bureau. This was in October 27, 2023, after October 7. This is the guy whose video I have shown so many times, who, when asked, why doesn't Hamas build shelters to protect the population? He says, because we build tunnels, because we have to fight from there. We have no responsibility to protect the people of Gaza from rocket fire and from airstrikes and so on. This is the guy. The face of Hamas. The face of Hamas. The guy who speaks on behalf of Hamas, who defends and protects and who speaks for Hamas, who happily sacrifices the population, who speaks for murder, for death, for destruction. This guy is part of this organization that Zohran Mamdani in the past happily and proudly praised.
Yeah, in the worst song ever. That was just the end of my point. It's that you make significantly better songs, and I'm not saying that because we're friends. I'm saying that because, dude, you can play. It's still on his Twitter page. It's a SoundCloud song, but it was freaking terrible. And it was one of his better songs because I listened to a few of them.
Really? I got to check it out, man. I got to check it out.
And deserves is what every community wants and deserves. Equality and respect. But brothers and sisters, we know that in this country, you are not given those things. You have to win those things. And we can win them together on June 24th. In 32 days, we have an opportunity in this city. And I speak to you as a candidate who is in second place in this race. A candidate who has raised $8 million, who has 20,000 volunteers, who have knocked 550,000 doors, who every day is getting closer and closer to becoming the leader of this race. And I ask you for your help because we cannot do this alone. In 32 days, we have an opportunity. Person of us are registered as Democrats. There's can actually afford. We have 1 million Muslims.
Oh yeah, here.
Every New Yorker that you know, that this is our chance. Because in this city, alhamdulillah, we have 1 million Muslims. 200,000 of us are registered as Democrats. But in the last election, do you know how many of us voted? 7%. Now, I don't blame anyone because often it feels like there is not much to vote for. But now we have an opportunity to vote for something. We have an opportunity to vote for not only one of us, but more importantly, a city that each of us can actually afford. Thank you so much to the brothers for having me. Thank you so much.
So this is it. You have it right here. You have the appeal to Muslims in the city to use their numbers and use their force to catapult this guy for no reason except that he is a Muslim. That's it. Muslim goes to mosque and asks and tells Muslims to vote for him because he's Muslim. That's it. That's it. There you have the takeover. That's as easy as it gets, honestly. As easy as it gets. As simple as it gets. And then you have it again here.
Attacks. I will not.
Hang on.
What?
Hey, I bet he gives the exact same message, but go ahead.
Principles. And I tell you, brothers and sisters of this masjid,
I'm telling you, I won't.
that we have an opportunity, starting tomorrow for early voting until election day on June 24th, an opportunity to show that New Yorkers want that consistency. They want those principles. They want a belief in humanity. And alhamdulillah, in this city, we have 1 million Muslims. 200,000 of us are registered as Democrats. But in the last election, only 7% of us voted.
Didn't he just say
Now, I
the
will
exact
not
same
judge anyone in our community because often it feels like there's not much
Nothing to vote for. Yeah.
But this year we have an opportunity. We have an opportunity. And I can tell you, I began this race at 1%, and today I am just 2% away from Andrew Cuomo. 2% away from City Hall.
Allahu
2% away from making
Allahu Akbar!
Akbar!
Today, a new Republican billionaire $1 billion into this race to attack me. But I know that I have something they do not have, which is the support of people across this city. So I ask you to tell everyone in your life that this election is here, to tell them what's on the ballot, and to tell them that we as Muslims deserve what every other community deserves: equality and respect.
You already have it. Which is why you are leading the freaking race.
But we know that in this city and in this country, we are not going to be given those things. We have to win those.
Why is this guy doing a selfie thing?
Hey, look at me.
The way we win them is at the ballot box. So I ask you, when you go and vote, remember, it is our...
What's with this caveman here, man?
And who records a video like this sitting right beside a fan that keeps blowing into the freaking camera?
Yes.
Our opportunity to show that Muslims don't just belong in New York City. We belong in City Hall too. Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum.
Muslims don't just belong in New York City, they belong in City Hall too.
Yes, and we want the kuffar coming and handing us the jizya, and we punch them in their chins.
We have to make sure to make everyone know that Muslims do not only belong in New York City, they also belong in City Hall.
And in the White House.
This just reminds me of one thing, which is Mr. Adnan Rashid here. Let's listen to this for a second.
Muslims living in Britain and Muslims living in Canada, Muslims living in Australia, Muslims living in the Muslim lands. Where is your vision for the next 50 years? We can have a global vision and we can have a local vision. I believe we should have at least 3 prime ministers in the next 50 years, right? In Britain and in Canada. This is the solution. This is going towards a positive revival of the Muslim Ummah.
I want to see the whole world led by a just Khalifa. And there's no shame in saying this.
I don't know why this video is added to that. But yeah, this is just this is part of the plan, man. I want to take over everything and make them wear these stupid hats. What the hell is this hat even?
Yeah, I don't even know what that is.
Probably something cultural. Yeah. You see.
Ways. Alhamdulillah, there are 1 million Muslims in this city. 200,000 of us are...
What do you think it's going to say, David?
Oh, it's going to say 200,000 of us are registered voters. How many, do you know how many voted in the last election? 7%. 7%, just 7%.
Let's see.
Registered to vote as Democrats. In the last election, only 7% of us voted.
Whoa, how did you know, man?
I will not blame
Psychic, man. Psychic.
There isn't much to vote
Dude,
for.
think about that. He prepares like a 2 or 3 minute message and runs around giving it in every single mosque in the city. Hey, vote for me, vote for me, vote for me, vote for me, vote for me. All you have to do is rally the vote. And then what's he doing when he's talking to the super wealthy, well-educated white kids? Guys, we really need to be funding transgendered surgeries and stuff. They're going, oh, and I'm a Muslim too, so voting for me is like extra progressive. You're getting a vote for me is a vote for LGBT and showing that you're pro-Islam. What? Oh my goodness, I'll be the wokest person ever.
June 24th, with early voting starting tomorrow, it is an opportunity for us to show that Muslims don't just belong in New York City. We also
Where else do they belong? City Hall.
Because yesterday I stood on the debate, and Andrew Cuomo stood next to me. And here was a man who was the governor for a decade, and he could not name a single mosque he had ever visited. He could not name it because he does not care.
Disgusting.
You see, Andrew Cuomo wasn't around in the mosques.
Andrew Cuomo, why didn't you go to mosques?
Yes, if you had gone to one single mosque, maybe we'd be on your side, but you never did, and so we will vote for this super pro LGBTQ.
You sick in the mind?
Shia.
You're sick. You're sick.
Man. This makes me sick.
Dude, it's like and this is a creepy model, but he did basically the same thing AOC did. AOC, right? She was a bartender, and she said, "Hey, if I go in there and I just start talking to young people and I get young people excited and I get people excited on social media, I can actually win the primary. And if I could just win the primary, then I'll win, because there's no way people are going to vote non-Democrat or something like that." And that's how she won. Dude did the exact same thing. People point out he has no experience with anything. Where was it? The Atlantic or something like that. I was looking at an article. They called it like his policies like magic, right? Like he's one of these guys who thinks that everything just appears by magic and that everything works by magic. And he doesn't understand how things really work in the real world. And yet that's all it takes, right? Like, hey, I can sit here and imagine a world where all the rich people hand over all their money out of the goodness of their hearts, and they keep earning money and then handing it to other people to pay for their stuff, and they never ever resist that or change or go somewhere else. And everyone, and then, oh, by the way, I mean, he's nuts on everything. He wants to empty the prisons, defund police, take no more guns for anyone. So I don't even know what to do once your inmates flood the streets and you don't have any police and you're not allowed to have a gun to protect yourself. It seems like a recipe for everything going on. But guess what? You can make that work in your mind, right? Hey, let's defund the police, clear out our prisons, defund that entire system, and no one will have any guns, and everyone will just live in harmony. And everyone will be funded by the rich people. And we'll all just sit here, and won't that be great? See, it works in my mind. I can think it. And if I think it, that's how the world will be. And no concept of reality.
That reminds me of this. I haven't watched this video, but I came across this headline several times, which says Zohran Mamdani on why he wants to empty jails. Violence is an artificial construct. I haven't seen this video and I don't know the context, so I just want to check it out right now.
I do. I think people are misusing this, to be fair, but go ahead.
Oftentimes, we've even found as legislators, when we go into these courts, the term violent crime is even used when people are stealing packages. Violent crime is even used when people are accused of burglary and there happens to be a housing unit in that same dwelling. So violence is an artificial construction. And we have to be very clear that what is happening here with these district attorneys, that is violence. That is violence at the highest degree. We have
So there, it sounded like he was criticizing certain crimes being counted as violent felonies, as far as getting you locked up when they're not actually violent. You're not actually hurting anyone, and so that would be a fair point. There's a huge difference between robbing someone and beating the crap out of them while you're doing it and stealing a package. So if those are, I don't know that he's correct in saying that, but if stealing a package is actually counted as a violent crime for prosecution purposes, I would agree that's screwed up. But what was his conclusion? It's, well, therefore, if you could just call anything violence, then it's just a social construct. And we'll say that what these guys are doing here in the government is violence. And then the crowd cheered. So anyway, creepy stuff.
Powerful.
We need to stand for election. We need to take charge of our country. If we don't do something, these seculars, these liberals are going to come. So they started giving fatwas. One of the most famous, one amongst them said, I used to say that democracy is haram. Now I say participation in democracy is our jihad. That's our jihad. We're going to fight not through the bullets, but the ballots. He literally made that phrase in Arabic. That's going to be our jihad, going to the polls and making sure that we win. What is your duty?
My jihad is elections. My jihad is Islamization through elections. Beautiful.
As a member of the Ummah, now that you are also an American. It is our physical jihad duty to fight the entire earth until we enter it into the Ummah.
Powerful, powerful, powerful. So here you have it. I think that Mamdani is doing a perfect job in pursuing just that goal. And here's the thing. I don't know how bad he is. I know he's a democratic socialist. It's very, very extremely wild to just envision, to just think of the idea that a democratic socialist or any kind of socialist goes and takes over a city that is like the heart of capitalism. I don't know. I can't think of a greater example for capitalism except New York City.
Yep.
And here you have a democratic socialist who is an anti-capitalist come and take charge of that city.
And he says he is. He says he's against capitalism and so on. I mean, think about that. That was the idea behind attacking the World Trade Center, right? We will attack the heart of your capitalist nation and so on. We'll attack you at the very heart. And then 2.5 decades later, we've got, hey, let me finish the job. Let me finish the job we started.
It would be funny if New York in no time turned out like Detroit. You know? That'd be very cool.
That's what you get. People don't realize. I mean, go to Detroit. It is a horrible crap hole. They were the heart of two. Not you're extremely lucky if you get one. They were the center of two massive industries. That was the center of the music industry, and that was the center of the auto industry. And they screwed it both up. They screwed both of those things up. And now it looks like you're in a third world country if you're there.
It's a funny thing. Like people who are a little bit older might remember that Detroit was not just in America but around the world a popular reference. You know, Detroit was a known city.
It's a Motown, man.
Because it was a heart of great business, of great success. Nowadays, it's a complete third world country.
And people don't realize how terrible it is. I used to fly into Detroit to do stuff in Dearborn and to do stuff with ABN and stuff like that. And so I was going there multiple times per year, and it is like you have actual like ghost towns there. You have all these buildings, they're all boarded up and stuff, like entire cities. You take a wrong turn and you go, and all you get is mile after mile after mile of boarded up houses and boarded up buildings and stuff like that because people left.
I'm sorry for you, Michael Feldman. All right. So this is the issue. This is the problem that we have. Zohran Mamdani is he both identifies with his Muslim stuff a lot, with his Islamic stuff a lot. He has a past of praising Islamic terrorists. He goes and tries to appeal to Islamists, tries to appeal to Muslims to get more votes, tries to use the Muslim bloc that is mostly imported in order to get to power, wants to make Islam a primary thing. It's also quite funny. Wait, what is this? Here. Like, I saw this speech earlier, and I'm just thinking to myself, dude, what in the world does this have to do with New York City?
I've had the pleasure of visiting Pakistan once. I went to Lahore, to Karachi, to Islamabad. And it is a beautiful day to see the vibrancy of those cities, of that country, here with us today in Albany. Because for far too long, the story of Pakistanis has been told by others. And it's a story that has not embraced the full humanity of Pakistani people. And it's time that Pakistanis start to tell their own stories. And I'm so glad to be here as one of so many other.
That's why I'm going to tell the story of Al Zut.
Here, what it means to be Pakistani, what it means to be Pakistani.
If he had said, "Hey, we need to tell the story of Pakistan," and he said, "I'm going to tell the story of Al Zut," I would have voted for him in a freaking heartbeat just for that. It would have been legend status forever. You lost your chance, buddy. I would not be criticizing you right now.
For so many of us, we've seen so much loss, so much of an affront to our humanitarian impulses going across the world. There's been a Pakistani poet, Faiz Ahmed Faiz, who I've read every.
There's nothing concerning Pakistan is going on in the world, but he goes to a Pakistan Day event and immediately tries to appeal to the conflict that is happening currently between Israel and Hamas.
Mm-hmm.
Why? What does it have to do with Pakistan?
Well, and the horrible anti-Pakistani discrimination in the world, where Pakistanis are victims. Pakistanis are victims everywhere he goes. You're a victim. You're a victim. Vote for me, and you won't be a victim anymore. Dude, Pakistan, the place where if you even don't like someone, you just say he burned the Quran, and a mob forms and beats you to death.
Yeah.
The place where any Muslim can walk up to any little 12-year-old Christian girl, kidnap her, take her to his house, forcibly convert her, and then when her parents come to try and get her or try to get police to go after her, they say, "What? She converted to a Muslim. Her parents are no longer relevant to this discussion." And the police side with the Muslim kidnappers, because what are you going to do? They'll kill you if you don't. That's a place. You poor you guys, poor you.
But anyway, lots of bad stuff going on. Lots of bad stuff going on. Hey, David, are you watching the debate between Jay Dyer and the Catholics?
Why would I watch that when I am not a nerd?
Nuclear Saver, Shia Islamic Socialist. When did I see that? Last see that? Doesn't sound familiar. Like Iran, maybe? I don't know. Upper Baker, IP, I watched your video. I watched your interview with Matt Fradd. It was excellent. It was excellent. You spoke honestly, articulately, and passionately. I like your rosary story. Bravo. Sometimes I wonder if this is my fake account that I'm making these super chats. Yeah, could totally be true. Holy Joe, the Islamization of New York begins. Also, have you heard of Majmu al-Zawaid in 2999? So horrible it speaks for itself. No. What is this? What is this? David is looking up as we speak. What is this?
I don't know. You just took it off the screen, so I can't finish typing in the reference.
Majmu al-Zawaid 2999. Is it a Shia thing? What is this?
So it comes up as disgusting hadith in Shia chat.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, no. That's a famous one. No, I've seen that a million times. I didn't know what the reference was. I think there are multiple references. But that's, I saw the Messenger of Allah putting Hussein's legs apart and kissing his little penis.
Oh, cool. Do you know anything about the authenticity of that? Is that like just one that goes around and comes around?
I'm pretty sure it's authentic. I've seen it enough to.
Powerful, beautiful. There you go. Mythological Beast says, a New Yorker here. I see actual signs advertising the campaign of the individual in question. Certain pockets of NY have been taken over by Muslims. I was a little bit surprised. To find out how big of a Muslim population New York City has. It's very, very strange to me because I thought that New York City wouldn't have such a thing going on. But I'm not sure if this is correct, but New York City is estimated to have over 750,000 Muslim residents, making it the largest Muslim population in any U.S. city. This represents approximately 9% of the city's total population and about 22.3% of all Muslims in the United States, according to Wikipedia.
You get it? Almost a quarter of U.S. Muslims are all in one place.
But 9% of the city's total population are Muslims in New York City? I didn't know this, man. This almost sounds like a European city.
It's similar. It's similar in that you go to certain areas and it'll be all Muslims, usually of like some background. Like you'll go to like an Egyptian area, stuff like that. Then you go to another area and it's like Pakistani area and stuff.
The West is just beautiful like that. Mariam Rayat says, according to my calculations, the Al Zud video will reach 1 million between 16-20 July, but if it will keep declining by 7.4, it will only reach 9776623. This is the most beautiful calculation I've seen in my entire life.
That's the thing. It's never just gonna end at a number.
Nice.
Even if it slows down, it'll just take longer.
David Wood, what's your favorite NYC borough?
Bronx.
Why?
Cause I don't know. I lived in the Bronx. It's pretty cool, man. You got all kinds of stuff, man. You got Yankee Stadium. You got like, apart from Central Park, Manhattan's just like all buildings, whereas the Bronx still, you still have like trees and stuff like that. At least where I was. I don't know. Bronx is cool. Queens is pretty cool. It would go in order. It would go. Bronx is my favorite. Queens is next. Then Brooklyn. Then Manhattan. Then Staten Island.
Powerful. Hey, did you see 50 Cent made a posted something about Mamdani? I don't know if you've seen that.
Nope, did not see it.
He said Nazi.
Hey,
Well-
we need 50 Cent to review Mamdani's rap songs and videos, which were among the worst I've ever seen.
That's funny. Wait, where's the post? I can't find it now. The heck?
You see, the Jews took it down.
The Jews deleted it.
The Jews.
What is going on with this guy's Instagram page, man? It's just a bunch of AI pictures and stuff. But anyway, he posted something like, I gave him this much money to deport himself or something like that. Let's see. Oh yeah, here. 50 Cent offers Zohran Mamdani $258,750 to leave New York City. I'm not feeling this plan, he says. I'm still not sure what the number, what the significance of the number here is, but that's what he said.
What is it? $258,750 to leave New York City. I mean, come on, the dude will become a millionaire by leading New York City.
Yeah,
everyone does. You can, again, with AOC, you can be a bartender and get a job in Congress where you have this. It's interesting. You have this modest little salary, but they all become millionaires real quick. It's interesting.
Nice.
I have to say, I'm feeling the plan as much as we'll point out the problems. I'm frequently in favor of the view that sometimes you just have to see your horrible ideas put into practice until they destroy something, and then people catch on to how bad they were. And if you don't see them like destroy something very important, you just never catch on, and you keep promoting the same idea. So sometimes you got to see it destroy something like New York City to realize how stupid and insane and out of touch with reality your ideas are.
You see, the people on the right who have been screaming about Zionists, Jews helped him win. Sneeko said that's why he voted for him. Oh, did you see that? There was an exchange between Matt Walsh and Sneeko.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Matt
I
Walsh.
want to check that out. It's funny because Sneeko's Sneeko's the guy who shoots at LGBT rainbow flag targets and stuff like that. But this dude is like the by far biggest LGBTQ candidate.
Beautiful.
And so that's why Sneeko really voted for him.
That's what we like to see. So here we have this Matt Walsh attacking Sneeko very rudely and Islamophobically. So Matt Walsh says this dude has the IQ of a pancake. Really a strikingly stupid person. He says that he disagrees with Zohran's platform, yet he agrees with his vision for the city, which is somehow distinct from his platform, apparently. Then he calls Zohran a real New Yorker, even though the guy's from Uganda and has only been a citizen for like 6 years. Just totally incoherent. Let's see.
Well, no one accused Sneeko of being super.
I'm very excited to see what Zohran does in the next coming months. It's like the most controversial subject on X, on Twitter right now. Matt Walsh was talking, called me what did Matt Walsh call me? He called me an absolute moron. But he's bought and sold by Ben Shapiro. Matt Walsh, you can't talk about foreigners when you're owned by a foreigner. Your boss is literally a Mossad spy. So before you
Ben Shapiro's a foreigner?
I'm Donnie saying defund the police. I don't agree with his socialist takes. I don't agree with him supporting transgenders and surgeries for children. If he does, I'm completely against that.
What do you think he runs on, man? He runs based on the socialist ideas and based on things that he wants to fund.
Listen to what
Why are you
Sneeko just
supporting
said.
it, you
Listen to what
idiot?
Sneeko just said. He just said, I don't agree with any of these guys' policies, but if he's pro free Palestine, then I don't care what his policies are. I'll go with him.
Oh wait, I just searched Matt Walsh's profile for moron and found this. He's an anti-American foreigner who wants to castrate children with tax money. You absolute moron. That's what it is. Let me see the original.
I'm Donnie. It's not over yet, but it's looking like he won the mayoral race in New York City. We were all over every borough today, seeing people super excited to go out and vote. I supported him because he's the only non-Zionist candidate on that stage. I thought you needed to be bought and sold, but people are energetic. People are tired of the Zionism, and I'm excited to see what he's got. I'm not a socialist myself. I don't want everyone to be a communist getting free stuff, but I think he has some cool ideas. Hopefully, he can do the best.
What cool ideas? All of his ideas, all of his ideas are socialist ideas combined with a bunch of LGBTQ stuff, which you hate, Sneeko. Just think about that. Once you really get a group like, hey, we will vote for anything that is anti-Jew. You can actually go to someone like Sneeko and say, hey, Sneeko, this guy disagrees with you on literally everything you believe in, except you guys agree Jews bad. And he'll go, oh, I'll go with that guy then.
This guy says cannibalism should be allowed, and I will make it legal.
And
But hey,
I'm going to forcibly turn all boys into girls and all girls into boys. And then I'm going to do awful, huge experiments on them. Vote for me because I'm against the
but
Jews.
he's a Zionist. Oh, he's not a Zionist. Okay, then I think I'm going to vote for him. The Sneeko or people like him. I mean, at what point do you stop and think, wait a minute, if I'm left to vote for this one guy who just has the most absolutely horrible takes and the most absolutely horrible agenda, and I seem to agree vastly with these other people, but they are all Zionist and this guy is not, at what point do you think maybe there is a problem with me?
Yeah, this guy, I mean, at this point, so I mean, seriously, given what Sneeko just said, I mean, this guy could be like, hey, I believe in torturing puppies and kittens for fun all day, every day. Down with Israel. And Sneeko will be like, oh, there's our guy.
But the most important issue to me is somebody who's anti-Zionist right now. And if he's a real New Yorker and he has a vision for the city that aligns with a lot of the people, then I wish him the best of luck. Does it make me a socialist? No. Does that make me a queer liberationist? No. But I think Matt Walsh.
It literally does. If you support the guy,
voting for him.
If you support the socialist guy who is big into the LGBTQ stuff, then you are literally supporting him and supporting the socialist agenda and the LGBTQ plus stuff. So congratulations. What an idiot, man.
Yeah, Sneeko, you're helping a guy who wants to transition more kids. You help that guy take over. You're helping that guy take over one of the most important cities on the planet.
Well, I don't agree with him, but I'm going to vote for him. I don't agree with what he believes in, but I think that he's going to do a good job because I'm going to vote for his campaign. Although I don't agree with his campaign, I'm going to vote for his campaign. Absolutely retarded. A Muslim country we rarely hear of is the Maldives. How is it going over there? The Maldives is a very, very funny example of a country. The country sucks. It is absolutely horrible as a place to live for people, and also has incredibly messed up policies, and is an Islamist country. It is actually a deeply Islamist country. However, it has tourist resorts, tourist areas where the laws of the country generally do not apply. But lots of people experience this whole thing where they go to the Maldives to, on vacation. And then because they don't know any better, they leave their tourist island and go to the non-tourist area, and then they get arrested for indecent exposure, for example. or they get arrested for drinking alcohol and get tortured and so on. It's pretty messed up. You have news like that every now and then. But Maldives is a very, very messed up place. And I think that nobody who considers doing a fancy vacation should go there, because you're basically supporting an Islamist hellhole. That's what you're doing. That's what you're doing. That's what you're doing. That's what you are doing. Tourist arrested for wearing bikini in the Maldives. This is an actual headline. This is the kind of stuff that you see. Because you think, wait a minute, isn't that a spot for tourism? But yeah, it is a spot for tourism if you stay in tourist areas, not if you go out of the tourist areas. That's it. Here it says, unlike many of the islands in the Maldives, which are exclusively for tourists and tend to be single resort, Mafuji has a local population of around 3,000. It has no international hotels and so on. So much of the stuff is for tourists, but much of it is not. And places where tourism is not run, the population doesn't want to see any Westerners running around, or you'll get in trouble. Globalize the Musalaha. You see, he said he won't honor ICE warrants, but he will honor Netanyahu's ICC warrant. How? I don't know. He also said he got into politics because of Palestine, because it's an important part of his identity. Well, I saw that he said that if Netanyahu came to New York City, he would make sure to arrest Netanyahu or something like that. But the funny thing is that he has no authority to do any such thing. So it
would be interesting to see the fireworks between him and ICE.
That'd be cool. I want to see Netanyahu come to America just to enter New York if that guy becomes mayor. Just for fun. World's highest IQ person, Jung Hoon Kim, is a believer.
Yeah. Yeah, Apple Pucker, all this is possible, but we kind of use this as a joke.
Yeah,
we've been using this as a joke. Because we'd have to see some more to verify this dude.
I don't buy any of the I am the highest IQ person in the world kind of stuff. I also looked it up. I researched a little bit, and it seems that he received a certificate from a memory contest, which memory does not equal IQ.
Yeah, those are different things.
And then he also received a certificate from an organization that he's literally part of. So, at an IQ of 270 something doesn't mean anything at all. It doesn't make much sense. It's like IQ is like it's standardized around 100, which is the average person in the West, for example, and then it goes up to a certain point because those are the people that you're competing with in terms of intelligence. If you go way above that to the 200s, it already is completely meaningless. It doesn't really mean anything to have an IQ of 270. So
no, here's the thing. It would, but it gets increasingly difficult to test what it kind of means, right? Like I took an IQ test, and then I got this was when I was in high school, and it said like 157 or 167 or something like that. But then at the end of the book, it said if it said something like if you scored over 135, it does not count because you need different kinds of tests to verify that sort of thing. But that keeps going. You start running into tests that don't, like, other normal people wouldn't. It's hard to rate you based on other people because they need to come up with entirely different ways of testing you on various things and so on. So anyway, my only point is you need to see like Mensa and a couple of other organizations testing this dude, and okay, here's our criterion. We tested him and he scored this, and this other organization, high IQ Prometheus organization or something like tests him, and they conclude, and you'd have to do it like that, not, hey, here's my certificate from my memory contest or something. Anyway, with that said, I kind of think it's funny. That's why people have been running with it. Like the smartest guy in the world says Jesus is God.
Yeah, show me his Mensa certificate, and I'll believe him.
And just so everyone knows, he could actually do that. He could actually go and be tested by these other organizations, and that would kind of settle it. But so far, I could tell he's not.
Yeah, he just starts every post with as the world's highest IQ record holder, which is kind of lame.
Which that's kind of what makes it look like it's a gimmick or something, right? That constant, and it's and by the way, if you look back through his posts, for a couple months he was trying to get Elon Musk's attention, even by like praising everything Elon Musk's mom said, and then he went on the like Trump train for a while, and then like a month ago he is, as the highest IQ holder, I say that the Bible's the word of God, Jesus is God.
Like I mean, I'm just checking it right now, and as we are speaking, here is his last tweet. As the world's highest IQ record holder, I believe President Donald Trump is the smartest president in all of human history, with an estimated IQ of 200. I mean, this has to be a joke at this point. Maybe he's trying to do this to check the IQ of people who read his tweets. I don't know.
Yeah, and I would say you had some smart, especially early on. You had some smart people. I'm talking people that knew Latin and Greek and were reading the classics and reading Plato's dialogues in Greek and so on. And these guys became leaders in the early U.S. I would be surprised if Donald Trump is the smartest.
Yeah, and you would have to see some certificates or something for that. Comic Nut AP, just watching your video with Matt Fred. I loved your whole thing about those arguments didn't work for you because it was the same for me. I need to feel the Holy Spirit myself. Also, David, how you can learn to feel God can do it, huh?
What I learned to feel.
Yeah.
Hey! I just looked it up. I just looked up smartest presidents. John Adams, number one. That's funny because that's who I was thinking of. I didn't know, like, I don't know if they're basing this on IQ or something, but I was thinking John Adams. I remember like the brilliant scholars. Thomas Jefferson, definitely would have put him top 5. 3, John F. Kennedy. That's a surprising one to someone. I forget what it was. That he could read like 16,000 words a minute. His briefing every morning would be someone would go in ahead of him and lay out some of the world's main newspapers around this giant table. And he would just walk around. He could read it. He could apparently read faster than you could turn a page. But they would lay out all the top newspapers in the world on this big table, and he would just walk around the table and learn everything that's going on in the world. But yep, total pervert, but super smart.
Why are you calling him pervert, man?
Because the dude was messed up, man. This dude was messed up what that dude was into.
Yeah, the interview with Matt Fred was very nice. I loved it. It's out there. It's doing nicely. He also wants to. He's also trying to get in touch with you, David.
Well, how hard would that be?
I actually gave him your email address today to send you an email. So.
Well, if he wants to become a master of the Islamic dilemma, this is a good year.
Yeah. Drew Traver, NYC will be the worst that London if he will be worse than London if he wins. The Asians will rule with an iron hammer and sickle. Inshallah, I hope so. Basic says in Patterson, New Jersey, there's an Islamic community that pushed out a lot of the Hispanics and Italians. A lot of Islamic overseas funding invested in that part of the city. I don't believe you. Can't be true. Muslims don't do such things. Potato snack face. I love my flawed country, but Brazilians and other ethnicities ruined USA, Europe, Australia.
What have Brazilians ruined?
The heck?
Like it says, these dang Brazilians.
MT full-on red green alliance, taxpayer-funded trans surgeries for minors and prescribing Zionist charities. $1 million per violation. Bill A6943. Palestine and the Jews, people on both sides are to blame.
Yeah, people. I saw another super chat about him. would effectively destroy Jewish organizations, because it's something like any pro-Zionist thing can't be listed as a charitable organization anymore. And people are pointing out, but that's like almost all synagogues. That's almost all Jewish school. That's almost everything, right? It's almost everything that's Jewish is going to be pro-Zionist. You do have some that aren't, and so on, but they tend to be pro-Israel. So it's interesting if that becomes a thing that disqualifies you.
It's very, very funny. When you just mentioned the Kennedy IQ or something, there was a very weird thing that I witnessed when I was in the military in Turkey, where they actually admitted this little kid. When I say little kid, he was 20 years old, but he was completely socially awkward and weird. He was seemingly stupid. He would always act like a child. He had a very strange look on his face all the time. And some people try to appeal to pop culture and think that this is just a general case of autism or something like that, but it's really not. But the kid had this weird ability, which I checked myself, that you put a completely new text, like a page of a book that he has never seen before, in front of him, and he looks at it for a few seconds. Then you take it away and ask him to remember the entire page from his memory, and he actually does it. I was still kind of fascinated with how messed up that was. I don't
know. John F. Kennedy had an IQ of 160.
Noise. Arab Inc. says they come to the US not out of love for the values that create prosperity, but out of love for the prosperity their own values can't create. This is very beautifully put. Appreciate it. David's going to copy that and act like it's his own phrase. Okay, he did it. He did it. All right. Okay. Paul 8221. He's running for governor, not the next Ayatollah. So his religion is irrelevant. Let's not promote fear mongering or get blinded by identity politics. Yeah, totally.
What? I mean, I said like 19 times that I love this guy.
I can't talk today. I have a problem. Normal man, red, green, brown alliance sounds like what happens after a night of after Taco Bell. Zohran will bring about fat liberation, fat liberated from people's bodies due to empty shelves. Nice. I hope so. Please also react to Chunk Yogurt's freak out about how Muslims do no wrong, and it's always the Zionists, and we blame Muslims. Where was that? Where did that take place? Where was that? Tell me where that was. Tell me where it was. Snudgewick, this is exactly how Britain fell. They first took up positions as mayors. We need to pray now, seek God early. Do so. You know who's going to pay for all this? Christians and Jews when he enacts jizya. Yeah, I hope so. Cracklet, is his goal to build a mosque over the site of the Twin Towers? I hope so.
Well, there's a giant building there right now, so I don't think that'll work. Although I have to say, and I was thinking about making a little video about this, how it's kind of it's an interesting situation. Nabil, right after 9/11, when he was still a Muslim, showed me a picture that his cousins were sending him around. They're all passing around, but it was supposedly a postcard from 5 years in the future, where all the stuff that had been destroyed in the name of Allah was replaced by mosques and minarets and so on. And so the idea was this was a postcard from the future. Hey, we use this attack to pave the way for Islam. And it didn't work out for the Ground Zero Mosque the way they had anticipated. But here we are 2.5 decades later, and not quite on schedule, but doing a bang-up job. Muslim mayor.
Muslim mayor. Crime rose in London 70% post-Khan. Zohran is pro-defund the police. Coincidence, I'm sure. As Charlie Kirk said, 2 major financial centers of the West. I find it always very funny that you invite the one culture that is just absolutely horrible at managing their own places, and then you give them authority over your own cities. Brilliant idea. Pink Floyd, comfortably zoot.
That could be Muhammad singing that. I have may come comfortably. Hello, hello, hello. Is there anybody out there?
What the heck is this, man? Look at this. Piers Morgan's show. Piers Morgan keeps doing this with everybody. I just saw this issue. So this guy Shai Davidai, he says, just got invited on Piers Morgan. Here's my response. Dear Kieran, thank you so much for the invitation. However, given Mr. Morgan's consistent platforming of rabid anti-Semites, amplification of blood libels and false narratives, and blocking on social media of anyone who dares voice dissent against his views, I must decline. While I understand that people like Mr. Morgan care most about clicks, likes, and advertiser revenue, some of us prioritize our values and integrity. Shabbat Shalom Shai.
I bet Pierce cried like a baby over this too, even though what is incorrect there?
Pierce responds with, I've never heard of you, you pathetic little twerp. But rest assured, you will never be an uncensored, whoever you are.
That's funny. I was right. That's what imagine that though, because it's similar to Islam. It's like, we do all this stuff too, and when you go, I don't want to have anything to do with that, you go, I can't believe it. I'm a victim.
And
it's
then
the same thing.
Hey, Piers Morgan, I thought journalists aren't supposed to lie. Your people have been trying to get me on for 2 years now. So
that's funny. This Shy David is pretty funny.
Yeah,
he brought the receipts.
It's very funny.
You see, I've never heard of you. You guys been trying to get me on your show for 2 years.
Hang on. I never heard of you.
Hang on.
MTX485. Ilhan, Zohran, Chunky, Hassan, all doing great here. Yet they do nothing but complain. They should leave if they don't like it here. Powerful. That's very racist. Mad Manny doesn't even have a Zabiba. I know that's why I didn't vote for him. Although I know.
Yeah, where's your Zabiba, bro? Do you even Zabiba?
Yeah.
I challenge him to Mubahala about his Zabiba.
Yes. I challenge you.
You need a Mubahala song. You need a Mubahala song in addition to your Zabiba song.
I challenge your Zabiba to a Mubahala. Hobocup, it seems like the most idiotic and naive place in the West get Islamicized first. I don't want to be rude, but these places got warned countless times. Well, it is usually popular among the leftist circles to heavy popularization of aggressive cultures like Islam. You don't usually get that among the more conservative traditional ones. So those tend to be naive. Can you guys imagine what the Christians thought in 61:6? This is pure magic. Yeah, that's what they thought. Drew Trevor, you can't Mubahala as a Christian because we bless those who curse us, but you can epic rap battle this commie rock kisser AP. I'll do that. I'll challenge him to a rap battle. We're willing to bet Candace and Qatarslan will have nothing to say because they hate Jews more than they love America. This is true. They probably won't say nothing at all. The Dems turning to Osama bin Stalin is good for the GOP in elections, but this is short-sighted. Politics swing more than Momo with the men of Al-Zut.
It's kind of funny calling him Osama bin Stalin.
This is the second stream today I've seen where they messed up people's names. Who else did that?
You don't mess up any names.
Beanie, David Wood versus Zohran Mamdani. Is Islam good for the West? Ultimate debate can't feature. That'd be nice. Boring politician, they call themselves pro-Palestinians, but they're really pro-anything that hurts Israel. Honestly, they're really anti-Israel and should be called such. I know you saw how they were all jumping up in defense of Iran, right? In defense of in defense of the Islamic regime of Iran. When as soon as Israel started fighting with Iran. What does it have to do with anything they talk about? Nothing. They stand up for the Islamic regime simply because it is Israel versus something else. That's it.
Yeah, I pointed out, and I was joking, but the point is serious. I said, imagine an alien invasion. I mean, outer space, and it's like they're not the ET nice aliens. I mean, like the xenomorphs from the film Aliens, and suppose they drop millions of those things, and they're ripping people open, and laying eggs inside people and using them as hosts for their embryos and so on. And just imagine that countries united and said we have to stand together to defeat these aliens, and then an IDF soldier shoots one of the aliens, then all of a sudden, like the entire world would be on the side of the aliens. It seems like
aliens did nothing wrong. This is
yes, and they would start presenting themselves as like the hosts and stuff. Yes, put your alien egg in me so I can help you fight the Jews.
Rape me, please.
Do it.
Do you think
Insert your embryo in my mouth the way the men of Al-Zut did to Muhammad?
Do you think he talked about LGBT rights in mosques, or in case momos to demand gender affirmation surgeries? FYI, 20 years after 9/11, New York voted for him. It's pretty messed up, man. Pretty messed up. Ashma, my jihad is eating spicy buffalo wingalings. Wingalings. Good morning, guys. Off to mass. We'll listen afterwards. Nice. Very, very cool. Muslims want a verse where Jesus said, I am God. What about John 13:13? You two think that's okay? There's also Rev 1:8:18 too. Happy Humility Month, by the way. Thank you. What does it say in John 13:13, David?
Well, it's actually a cool passage. Jesus basically kind of puts on a little play almost in John 13, but it's actually interesting. That it verse 13 is mostly relevant for when they say, but why didn't Jesus call himself Lord? And he says he's Lord. You call me teacher and Lord, and you are right, for so I am. And that's right after this little play he puts on where he washes his disciples' feet. But it's interesting what he does. He takes off his garment, washes his disciples' feet, then puts his garment back on. And it's like the incarnation. You know what I mean? It's like emptying himself and then going and cleansing his followers and then going back. And he does this right before he's taken away. And the other thing in Revelation, that's one of the main passages we go to, because that's where you have Jesus calling himself the first and the last. And it's always good, guys, if you're going to quote Revelation 1, where Jesus calls himself the first and the last, start off with Surah 57 verse 3. I mean, you can read 1 through 3 to make it clear that this is Allah speaking, but Allah calls himself the first and the last. You can go to Isaiah 44:6, where Yahweh calls himself the first and the last, and then you show Jesus calling himself the first and the last.
Nice. John Adams was a wingaling. That's very well known. We don't have to speak about it. The Big Apple will become the Big Adwasha date.
The Big Apple will become the Big Crapple.
What's wrong with NY? They should build a wall around it. They should.
That's the movie.
David, when did you know AP would become Christian?
Never actually knew, but I suspected all along.
Suspected I was a secret Christian. Cheerful Turtle Girl says, I've been sharing pro-Israel stuff on Pinterest. There are a lot of pro-Hamas Gen Z on there. Nice. I keep telling them about Momo and Sahih Muslim 2922. Very, very nice. Very, very good. The Bronx Bombers used to refer to the Yankees. Pakistan Zutinban. Zabiba means raisin in Arabic. Does that mean we can call Muslims raisin heads? Yes. I eat a hummus only if they have zabibas. I eat a hummus place. Now I have explosive. Good. Very, very nice. Astoria is the epicenter of Islam in NYC. It is in Queens, just across the river from Midtown. Very, very cool. I hope it grows more. I hope
NYC that's like a nice area. Islamic Astoria is like a nice area. Oh, no, I have to say, in Astoria, that's like places where if you're driving around that time and stuff, that's where they're like blocking roads and stuff, not with the prayers, but like in areas around mosques, they'll just use the surrounding streets as like parking lots and stuff like that. So roads are actually blocked during prayer times in certain areas of Queens.
Does my family's life matter? The Young Turks video title. Nice. I'll check it out. Does my family... What kind of a title is that? Family's life matter. TYT. Does my family's life matter? Cenk Uyghur goes nuclear. The funny thing is that they're acting like... so they put it in the title. Cenk Uyghur goes nuclear. but nobody actually like people make fun of him for doing this, but they actually think it's cool.
Lives matter. I'm so sick of our lives not mattering. And American media, you are guilty. You're the ones who got the whole country, my whole life, to hate me, to hate my Muslim family, to hate all Muslims across the world. You're the sick sons of bitches that called us terrorists. Does my life matter? Does my life matter? Does my family's life matter?
Why is he always sweating? Get
You're
a
literally-
freaking air conditioner, and I will be eternally grateful to you, Chunk Yogurt. Just get a freaking air conditioner so you don't perpetually look like you're dripping sweat.
You're literally running a very, very popular.
Yeah,
it used-
it's
it
the
used to
same
be
thing.
popular.
It's the same thing.
a
This
popular
dude has
garbage
become
show.
a millionaire of on whining about America online. You just got a Muslim who wins the Democratic nomination for mayor of New York. Everyone hates us, and they all complain about Jews all day.
I don't know if the information is true, but it says that Cenk Uygur has an estimated net worth of $5 million.
Islamophobes want to take it all.
Are you freaking kidding me, man? Is this serious? Jeez. What a great victim, man.
Yeah. I'm sitting here. I'm a millionaire. You're persecuting me.
According to other
I hate
estimates, yes,
everyone.
it is $10 million. His nephew Hassan Piker is worth something like that as well, 8 million or something like that. Stop oppressing these people, man. They want to be billionaires. Stop oppressing them. Stop it.
You sick in the mind? Mattering. And American media, you are guilty. You're the ones who got the whole country, my whole life, to hate.
Are you freaking serious, man? American media is the softest media out there. American media is the one that just that always makes sure to describe Muslim perpetrators in crimes, in terrorist acts, to describe them with in the most charitable way possible.
Mhm.
American media is extremely dumb and usually left-leaning and naive. American media could be seen as guilty, as one of the primary guilty ones in our in the Islamization, in the takeover, in Islamic influence, in the lack of resistance against Islamic influence. And this guy wants to blame American media.
It's just amazing. It's like I have to say, it's built into even this dude's mind, and I think he's like an atheist or something. It still remains in his mind that we're all supposed to be groveling and paying jizya, and
Yeah.
anything short of that is us being Islamophobic. Anything short of us bowing down and saying, "Here, take our jizya," or our great overlords. Anything apart from that is they're being oppressed.
We're victims. I'm a victim. I don't think he's really a socialist or a communist. I think he intentionally wants to ruin NYC. Same idea as OBL. Powerful. I hope so. David once said countries will get sick of Islam eventually as the avalanche continues. What catalyst event situation do you think will trigger that? David, what do you think?
Not here so much as in Europe. I think what you're going to see is you'll eventually see certain things setting people off. Like there will be some girl gets raped and killed by some guys or something like that, or there's another mass murdering spree and something like that. I think you're going to have people rising up, and then the government's going to have to crush them and so on. And then people are going to get angrier and angrier. And then the next time the reaction will get bigger and stuff like that. I think something is eventually going to set people off. It'll be one particular thing, and people really, really flip out about it.
Nice. Nice.
Keep in mind, guys, I'm not looking forward to that. I think you eventually get a bloodbath when all you have to do is really expose all the stupid nonsense of Islam, and I think it crumbles. But you won't. People defend it. especially the media, Cenk.
Exposed. Guys, can you say hi to my husband, Stefan Schnabel? Stefan Schnabel. Stefan
Stefan Schnabel! How you doing?
He's a huge fan. I know so much about Islam that I never thought I'd know. Have to say, in light of recent events, I'm glad for your ministry. Thank you. Thank you. And hello to Stefan Schnabel. Stefan Schnabel. I have a real issue with Matt Walsh. How could you denigrate the pancake by associating it with Sneeko? We need a public apology. I will hold him to it one night when I meet him.
Yeah, associate Sneeko's brain with something we don't like. We all like pancakes. Whoa, did AP just leave? Am I still live? Can I say whatever I want? This is one of those times where I start wanting to preach Christianity because I think it's an atheist channel, but it's not anymore.
I don't know what happened. I just kicked myself out for some reason. Oh. A bit off topic, but I hope that the fall of the Islamic regime in Iran will cause a domino effect in countries plagued by this horrid religion. I hope so too. The funny thing is that although there is a ceasefire and although the war came to an end, it is still kind of continuing. Israel is still playing a little bit of a forward game against Iran. Iran is still running around talking about the victory against the Zionist entity, which is very funny because we know that the Islamic regime of Iran was the one that came to Donald Trump and begged him for a ceasefire. And then after the ceasefire is announced, they come out and say, "Congratulations on the victory over the Zionists."
I have to say, the situation in Iran is actually screwed up because now they're going around rounding up anyone they even think may have been an informant for Israel.
Yeah.
But whenever you have that sort of situation, it's an opportunity to kill any of your critics, right? Because all you have to do is any random person who's criticized the regime at any point, you go, you know what? We found out, we have good intel that this person was working for the Zionists. And you go and execute the person. That's what they've been doing. And so it's a sucky situation where we say, hey, we want a ceasefire. We want a ceasefire in the world. We want a ceasefire. We want a ceasefire. And you give them a ceasefire and great. Now all these people who actually helped you and informed where these people were and stuff like this, so you could take out their leaders and take out their entire nuclear program and so on. No, all those people are going to be executed. The people who helped you are going to be executed.
Funny thing is, when Donald Trump started giving the authority to conduct airstrikes in Iran, there was a vote introduced to stop Donald Trump from starting any aggressions against Iran. Now we have news. U.S. Senate votes down resolution to restrict Trump from escalating Iran war. So there will be no blocking Trump or the U.S. from carrying out any operations. And together with that, Donald Trump also said that he would absolutely bomb Iran again. That's what he said.
If Iran...
Are you from Iran?
No, I'm not from Iran. I'm from the UK. But if
Are you from Iran?
conclude that Iran can enrich uranium to a level that concerns you, would you consider bombing the country again?
Without question, absolutely. Turned out to be unbelievable. But, our incredible flyers and I call them the shots, these guys are unbelievable. Think from 52,000 feet, they hit the equivalent of a refrigerator door. They actually hit it right in the center, so it's much smaller than that.
I find his response like, "Would you bomb them again?" Yeah, sure.
Yeah, everything the dude says is hilarious, man.
Yeah.
It's just funny.
From the UK.
Of course I would. I'd bomb the crap out of them.
If the intelligence reports conclude that Iran can enrich uranium to a level that concerns you, would you consider bombing the country again?
Without question, absolutely. Turned out to be.
Sure, without question, absolutely. So here we go. It's not over, man. It's not over. And guess what? The Islamic regime did say that they absolutely intend to, after this setback, get back to their nuclear program and once again enrich uranium and continue doing whatever they want to do, and also now defy and disregard any regulations from the International Atomic Organization. So we will just do whatever we want to do. We will continue with the enrichment. If they do that, I'm telling you right now, if they do that, if intelligence finds that they are doing that, Israel and America will start again, probably without much advance notice, bombing the crap out of facilities. And this time, considering that it happens a second time now, I don't think that there will be much restraint. And I don't think it will be like just a contentious, limited operation. I think this time, both Trump, so both the US and Israel, will say, all right, we did the operation. These guys didn't listen. They want to do it again. Now it's time to take them out. Powerful. Slive thought made a video responding to the high IQ guy. It's so ridiculous, it's funny. Nice. Anthony Lafleur.
Hey, that's interesting. So you got the world's lowest IQ guy versus the world's highest IQ guy.
Yeah, that's brilliant. That should be worth watching. Anthony Lafleur, it's interesting how...
But we all know that the person with highest IQ is Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
It's interesting how Mamdani thinks governments run grocery stores will work when the same idea was tried in Cuba and Venezuela and things went south for them. If he gets elected, NYC could have similar problems as London. Is this something he actually suggests?
Yes. Government-run grocery stores. And, dude, people don't... This is what I mean. When you... Everything is like superficially sounds good to stupid people, right? So the idea is, keep in mind, capitalism is the enemy. So all these stores that are, the A&P and all these grocery stores and stuff, everything they're all in it to make money. So we'll make government-controlled grocery stores. First of all, everything that the government does that regular business people could do, regular business people do it better because they have to focus on competition and stuff like that. If you charge too much, people will go somewhere else and so on. So it tends to work out, but you have to be doing a good job or people are going to go somewhere else. The government, when the government takes over something and they have no competition, they do a terrible, terrible, terrible crap job. This is what communism does. But just think about the disaster, because you're not talking about taking over all grocery stores. He's going to make certain government-run grocery stores in certain areas, and everything is going to be cheaper. Well, guess what that does? Where do people get their groceries? There are grocery stores in New York, but lots of people just go to like the neighborhood bodegas and stuff like that and to grab a couple things, and then you go to the bigger grocery store when you need to really load up and so on. Guess what? None of those guys can compete with the government run. So you're actually destroying businesses across the state, destroying jobs, and then thinking that the government, once it has no competition, is going to do a better job. No, you've just made a recipe for long bread lines, which, where have we seen that? Oh, socialist countries, idiots.
Stupid. I just got dogpiled in a YouTube live chat of a RW streamer with a barrage of anti-Semitic attacks by 200 viewers because I was pro-Israel and asked what it meant when they called me a Christian dispensationalist. Insane. Yeah, people are a little bit nuts. Not sure who you were listening to and where you were, but right now there is a lot of orchestrated, organized infiltration and anti-Jewish, but also bot-run anti-Western stuff. Very, very popular right now. And some people, actual real people, think it is a good popular trend to jump on, and they also do it. It will stop being popular, This stupid trend will stop being popular. It mostly relies on insanity, on misinformation, on nonsense. At some point, anti-Israel and anti-Jewish propaganda and anti-Western propaganda will stop being popular because it will no longer be supported by certain governments.
But the internet is forever.
And if you jumped on it popularly, The internet will remember that.
The internet will remember all the stupid stuff you said.
People tend to be stupid and jump on the latest trend and run with it. If you jump on a trend that is artificially inflated like this and think it's cool, although it's extremely messed up, it will come biting you in the future.
So don't jump on a stupid trend that you'll regret 6 years in the future.
That's pretty good, man. Does my family's life matter? Bioclandestine believes Iran Ayatollah is deep state. I have no idea who or what bioclandestine is. How can you possibly disprove Muhammad in Luke 6:39? Stop running! Stop running! La 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 la. He also told them this parable: can the blind lead the blind? Will they not both fall into a pit? I can't disprove it, man.
Nope.
Huh. AP and the Dizzle are a power logic duo. He sure bless you. Thank you. Appreciate it very, very much. Who became son of God after Ezra? Nero. Nicaea, NYC mayor. No, therefore Ezra is the final son of God. NYC should start planting Gawker trees, but they are trees of those who hail Ezra. This is very true. Did you guys watch Anna Kasparian go full chunk yogurt on Piers Morgan? Hardest thing I've ever watched. I wanted to check it out, but I have been reliably informed that it's an extremely painful episode.
It is. She started just moaning and wailing and interrupting, and she went full chunk. She went full chunk yogurt.
And
I'm reliably, it was like she asked. It was like she asked Chunk, and she's like, "Hey, tell me what to do and how to really, what does go on? To go on for the entire time? Genocide. It's a genocide. Just keep doing that."
When I'm reliably informed that it's an extremely childish and ridiculous episode, then I feel less inclined to watch it. But maybe I will check it out sometime. I don't know.
That it will resist. So certainly our force protection elements are in place, but
to war and die on your behalf, or are you going to bring the Israelis back, tell them to put their fatigues on and get ready for a ground invasion? Because if they want regime change, they're going to need a ground invasion, and Americans shouldn't be forced to do it.
No, you don't, stupid.
This is so funny. This is June 23rd. She, like many other idiots, we're talking as if, oh no, we're all going to be dragged into a war. We're all going to be dragged into a war.
I've been told that they're going to have to start a draft of people, and that,
well, David, if you're going to say you're okay with the regime change, then you should have to say that it's okay to draft former inmates,
which I think is fine, but like, what level of delusion? And Candace Owens, you're not going to draft my kids. Her oldest kid's like 4. Like, she thinks it's going to be like this 20-year war with Iran, and all our kids are going to be drafted into the military to go fight. Like, what? This is why they vote for people like Mamdani. They're completely out of touch with reality. And so when someone comes along and says, "Hey, I'll just magically make everything free," and they go, "Well, that's how things work in our mind. Yay, let's vote for him."
No, look at these freaking idiots. Let me pull this up here. Just like this.
For World War III, and I hate to say that apparently I'm back in time for World War III, and I hate to say that we told you so. By we, I mean to me and Ian Carroll. Ian, I mean, it's incredible, and it's looking like we may be going to war. Yeah, which I had a crystal ball, you had a crystal ball.
She was predicting World War III, and now she's patting herself on the back for correctly predicting World War III.
Yes.
Okay, Candace.
This has been the most obvious and the most planned war in the history.
And we're not the only ones. A lot of people saw it coming. Like, it was clearly the agenda. It's about much bigger things. And about
World War III.
It's not about the nukes. And so the players that are planning things like this, they're not really concerned with what like Trump wants or doesn't want. I think that Trump would be very easily swayed to think all you need to do is show him some intelligence reports, show him like some spooky stuff about Iran's stockpile of like almost nuclear material, and be like, look, they almost have a bomb.
I'm sorry, but these are like the two smartest dumb people put together in a room talking about how awesome they are. and how they have it all figured out.
Yeah, I still don't understand what did you get right that any idiot could not have told. It reminds me of like Muhammad's scientific miracles. It's like, okay, the only things that Muhammad got right are things that any 7-year-old could have told you. Oh, there is a moon, there is a sun. Those are the only things Muhammad got right, things that a 7-year-old could have told you. Now, if you have Trump for years saying Iran won't get a nuke, whatever else we do, we're going to stop Iran from having a nuke, no matter what happens, no nuke, no nuke, no nuke, no nuke, no nuke. And then you see Netanyahu over here, we can't allow Iran to have a nuke, and they're enriching uranium way beyond what they need for any normal purpose. So this is clearly them crossing a line. They're going to build a nuclear and these guys, oh my goodness, you see, this is going to be World War III, and they're all going to draft our kids and go fight them. Resist, people, resist. All you people in the military, say no. Get dishonorably discharged. Don't obey orders. Don't obey orders. Don't obey orders. And then they kind of like Iran gets their nuclear facilities bombed and some of their leaders taken out, and then ceasefire. You see, we were right.
As soon as it started, these imbeciles were like, look, it's starting. We're all going to be
World War III.
World War III is breaking out. We told you so. Ha ha. We're so awesome. We told you so. Now look how this is going to escalate. Ceasefire.
Yeah. Look what's going to happen. The moment you kill someone in Iran, Russia's going to jump in China, and then it's going to be us, and then Europe's
Hold
going
on.
to jump in
Ceasefire.
World War III.
Ceasefire.
You see, we were right. We were right.
These people are so dumb, man. John F. Kennedy had a lot going through his head.
Yeah, that's messed up, man. Why are you even grinning at that? That's messed up. These are your fans, man.
Sophie
These are the
Spector
fans you built
says,
up over the years. Sick, evil people.
Went to a Reformed Jewish Pesach in a church. Rabbi mentioned the IDF. Someone shouted, shame. All that was on the Pesach plate for Pali trees, non-Zionist organization, watered down, apologetic, weak beyond recognition. I don't want to say anything. I'm glad you made that observation, and I know that lots of other Jews make that observation as well. But I don't want to sit here and talk trash about Reformed Jews, So I will leave that up to other Jews. So this is very unfortunate. It's very unfortunate. You have a good chunk of Jewish people who really like to help the anti-Jewish people bigly, and they often hang out in circles like these. Pretty messed up. Pretty messed up. They like to help the Islamists. They like to help the socialists. They like to help the Nazis even. They like to just go against anything that is Israel, against anything that is Jewish. It's very, very messed up. Artemius 33. Hindus will regain control of the Makeshwar Mahadev temple in Mecca. Yeah, sure. Jonas Schweng says, how can you possibly disprove Muhammad and Luke? I already did. No, I didn't. Sorry. You were right. Robert Spencer tweeted, Muslim near White House called jihad. Nice. David, when did you groom AP to become Christian? If false righteous rents were trees, Cenk would be a forest. True. Guarantee you, if he just turns on the AC, he wouldn't be so mad and liberal. He's just hot and angry, guys. This is very, very true.
He would be a funny commercial. Someone like gave him a Snickers bar and turned on the AC, and then he's like super calm and nice and rational.
Yeah. Cenk, they zooted me in the city.
They zooted me in the city because I'm a Muslim, and they said, oh, we're going to zoot you like we did to Muhammad.
Islamists are a comedic bunch. They can literally be getting completely obliterated and still wave their fist in the air and say they're going to destroy everyone. They remind me of Plankton. Yep. Ashmeyer said, listening to Trump is like listening to that cocky friend who thinks he can kick everyone's ass, except it's the friend who's a professional fighter. That's funny. Kakarot Wolf, could Iran technically challenge the US to a mubahala? Yes. Hello, David Wahid and Cardinal Yabudi. Thank you. Also, have you heard about the 145 girls plus women in France jabbed by needles? Some perp names Islam, Yup, Muhammad, Yasser, Fadi, Ayub, Abu Bakr, Walid. No, I haven't heard anything.
I heard about the jabbing people with needles. I didn't know it was just women and girls targeted.
Ian Carroll looks like Ron Jeremy. Natural farmer Gwyneth says, "Grow your own food and you will never starve." You see, there's a solution. Also, remember to grow lots of gargot trees. Yeah, do that. The first thing that I did once I got my own place was to plant a gargot tree, not build.
You know what I want to do? Grow a bunch of gargot trees, then take all the wood, use it as lumber, and build an entire house, which will be invisible to jihadis.
And the house will be called David Wood. Lloyd 4445, your guys. What happened to YouTube, man? Is this a new thing that they did?
Well,
did they change all the names to just usernames?
Oh, I do see usernames. What is this?
All
I didn't even
names have
notice.
been changed to just @usernames. What is this? Why did YouTube do this?
Why would they do that?
Now we have lots of people that I've recognized forever with their names, and now I can't recognize them because it's just dumb usernames. What the hell is this?
And you have people who make their name turn their usernames into turn their names into funny names based on stuff we're saying. We're not even going to see that anymore.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's a temporary glitch or if YouTube actually just changed
No, I
it.
think I saw YouTube announce something like that they're going to do this, and I when I saw this, I thought, what is the point? Why would you do this?
Apostate of Allah says she sees everyone as their regular names.
It might be slowly updated or something. I don't know. Let me see. I think I saw an article or something of YouTube announcing that. YouTube usernames. Let's see.
You see? First, Mamdani wins the Democratic primary, and now this.
Yeah. Funnily enough, I don't see any news updates on this, but I think I saw an article sent by YouTube themselves announcing this. I don't know. It's very stupid. Completely stupid. Your guys' lives where I live start around 1:30, and when I'm not on night shift, I sometimes fall asleep, and every single time I wake up, a Winger video is playing.
Oh.
And when I hit next, it just keeps giving me Winger videos.
What the heck? That's torture, man.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
That is straight up torture.
Also, bombing Fordo was planned by US 15 years ago. The Pentagon confirmed yesterday in a press conference. We actually designed around that. That's good. Nicely done. Shabbat Shalom, and thanks for supporting Israel and the Jewish people. I will talk trash about Reform Jews for you. May we merit Mashiach swiftly and soon. He's already here. He already came, and he's already here. Just so you know. Ashmai's Jenk gets Snickers AC and turns into Ben Shapiro.
That would be funny, man. Dude, can you make that? Can you do that sort of thing on with your fancy AI? Have Jenk flipping out. He gets a Snickers and turns on the AC, and then he's calling Ben Shapiro.
That'd be funny. Somebody should.
That would be seriously funny.
Somebody should do that. Your Mr. Dirty says, "How dumb is this username? Absolutely stupid. Absolutely ridiculously stupid."
But not as bad as having that and then someone super cool and bass like Metro Man as your picture.
Powerful. Yes. Yes, Jesus is the Messiah. Didn't expect that, right? See, told you. All right, David, anything else?
We've said it all.
We did. I don't think we did.
We've said it all. Everyone, make sure you go out and vote for Zohran Mamdani in the election in New York. He's going to give you some super, really free stuff and make the city better in every possible way, especially when he starts spitting his dope rhymes.
To arrive at that conclusion, he's basically just saying, "Area, you're just like you." Hey,
so these dorks are having a debate right now.
Ooh, let's debate this super important issue on Cameron's channel.
Come on, guys. Can you imagine if you had all these guys in there and then you toss like Mike Winger right in the middle? It would be like nerd overload. It would like.
So these nerds are having a debate right now on capturing Christianity about they do not worship the same God. Jay Dyer versus Catholic scholars. I mean, it's Jay Dyer, this guy, Father Deacon Ananias against philosophers Dr. Trent Doherty and Dr. Christopher Tomaszewski about whether Jews and not Jews, whether Muslims and Christians worship the same God or not. And I must say, I'm on the side of Jay Dyer here. So,
or philosopher religion is Georgi Garib.
Anyway, go and check that out if you're here and if you want to watch something else. David, what do you think? Anything else?
Yeah, guys, get your pocket protectors ready and your Wingling Forever shirts and go watch all this nerd stuff.
Wingalings forever. Wingalings forever. Wingalings forever. Wingalings forever.
All right. Thanks everybody for watching. As always, have a fantastic day. We will be live again tomorrow. And I'm also trying to record a video in the meantime about the topic of whether Christians and Muslims worship the same God or not, considering that I have decided that I'm the ultimate authority on this matter. Trying to put that out as well. But see you all tomorrow. Again, once again, have a fantastic day, everybody. Thanks for joining. And as usual, which means
stay away from Islam.